Now that we're getting into more complicated methods and objects, we're going to talk a little bit about testing and documentation. So in Unit 3.7 here, we're going to talk about something called JavaDocs. It's a way of putting comments in your code that will automatically generate documentation for them. Um, so generally, when we can put comments in code, we can say slash star to start a block of comments and star slash at the end. But there's a special way of putting comments, which you've mentioned briefly before, is this slash star star, and then a star slash at the end. And then you put in a description, like here's our class, here's a method, or each of our variables within our method, and here's the same thing for a method. So we do this sort of format a lot. And then there are special flags you can put in here with the @ sign. So you can use @author or @version that'll automatically be captured and put in there. Same with when we declare a method, we can say @parameter or @return to define parameters and return values. So we'll try to have you use this format for all of your comments for all your methods going forward. So we walk you through, give you examples of some different classes here and how they work. So when you're doing JavaDocs, we want to make sure before each class we have some comments with the description of that class, and also often an @author and @version. You can just put a version number or a date that you're changing this. Then for each method, so like up here when we have a method, we want to put in JavaDocs to describe that method. If there are parameters, we want an @parameter that for each parameter on a separate line. Here there's 2 parameters, and each one is on a separate line but that lists the parameter and then a short description of that parameter. If there's a return value, we want to say @return. So this returns an integer. We want to say @returns and a value. I think that's so. Yeah, here's the common @author, version are in classes, @param and @return are methods. @c might refer to something else, another website or another class that you can look at to refer you there. So go through this, and let me just show you, there's some references more to JavaDocs, but let's just look in BlueJ. So I'm going to switch to BlueJ. Here's all the classes from this zyBooks. Now under tools, there's project documentation. If I click on that, it'll generate the project documentation for this class. So here's all of my classes. Here's the elapsed time class. And again, it's taking this right from the code here. So where it says a class representing elapsed time measurements and the author is Mary Adams, this is right from our book. So here it is, a class representing elapsed time measured in hours and minutes, and the author is Mary Adams, the version is 1. So again, it's taking this information from this class, and these @version, @authors are stuck in special spots in the documentation. And then here's the constructor and the methods, and again here's what the comments for each method. So here's our set time method and our parameters, and that stuff is put right down here, set time and then the parameters. So, and there's detailed information. Here's set time, here's the information description, and here's each of the parameters, the name of the parameter, and the description. So all that comes automatically from this documentation here. So that's why we like to use this format. It creates this nice documentation. Now let's look at another example. So here's the learning exercise, Hokey Pokey, that we worked on this week. And the Hokey Pokey method itself we didn't put in the JavaDocs. So here we put in some good JavaDocs at the top of the class, but here for each method we didn't comment them out. And I'm going to actually delete this up here also. And now if I generate the JavaDocs for this project documentation, it says you don't, you want to show, it can't, it's going to regenerate this. And it tries to do its best just by reading the code, but it just lists the methods and there's no descriptions out here. Just lists the methods and doesn't describe them at all. Lists the class but no description of the class at all. So it doesn't work near as well unless we put in our documentation. Oops. So we want to be able to put in our documentation here and use this JavaDocs format. Okay, so start or if you've been doing it already, that's great. Otherwise, start using this JavaDocs format for all of your code going forward, and we'll be expecting and grading, assuming that you will be commenting each class and each method and each class attribute or field.